Okay, I think we're getting started. Good afternoon. Happy Earth Day to all of you guys. My name is Ernesto Comodo. I'm here with Cheryl Tate, and today our webinar is Green Marketing and Sustainable Gardening for Your Business. We're here with the LA South. This is a webinar presented with the LA South Chamber of Commerce. And my business is 907K Marketing, and Cheryl Tate is Nurturing Chefs LA, correct?
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay.
Nurturing Chefs LA.
Good. So what is green marketing? If anyone that's in this call, they can see on my screen, and they can also see behind me. According to the American Marketing Association, green marketing is the marketing of products that are presumed to be environmentally safe. Some people that also work in sustainability prefer the term responsible marketing or even ethical marketing. So you can see those interchange as well. But nevertheless, green marketing is still a popular term to define a company that brands itself, a product or a service as beneficial to the environment and our society. Green marketing promotes that your company uses sustainable materials or offers energy efficient products, or that your packaging is 100% recyclable. These facts can appeal to consumers and also save your company money in the long run. As society become more concerned with natural environment, businesses have begun to modify their behaviors in an attempt to address society as with the new concerns. So certain research, recent research actually has shown that consumers prefer companies that use green marketing terms in their advertisements versus the ones that don't. Some businesses have been quick to accept the concepts, such as environmental management systems and waste minimization have integrated environmental issues into organizational activities. We have recently seen some large corporations also starting to pledge or striving to have zero emissions in 5, 10, 20, and even 30 years. So to name a few of these, one of the largest companies in the world are Nike by 2025, Apple and Google, they pledged by 2030, GM by 2040, and BP, British Petroleum, by 2050. So just think about it, even British, they have petroleum in their name, and they're gonna go zero emission by 2050. So it is a trend with the largest companies in the world. And as small business owners, we have an advantage of becoming zero emissions over these large corporations right now, just because being that much smaller, we can move a lot quicker speed. So becoming the first and then becoming the first in a segment or a local market would give you an incredible competitive advantage over competitors. So something to think about as the years come. I want to show some examples of what I mean. Like you see, Starbucks is starting to show some earth concerns, eco-friendly stuff. Heinz bottle, they're changing their bottle to 30% made from plants, 100% recyclable bottles. Levi's, they're changing their manufacturing process where it uses much less water. Adidas, one of their most popular shoes, the Stan Smith, is starting to be more sustainable. I think they use instead of using plastic, they're using more like plant-based material. Stella Art Toys. As I mentioned previous webinars, this is the oldest brand in the world. They're from, I think, 1300s, but even their bottles are starting to be lighter and less glass usage. And I think I went too quick, but so one of the importance of showing these items or showing it to your consumers is because you want to reap the full benefits of being eco-friendly products or policies. You need to market what you're doing to the world, or at least to your target demographic. Remember that we're, as entrepreneurs, we are leaders to our communities, our network, and our tribe. You can raise awareness to your customers, team, and even competitors in being more eco-conscious. A win-win for the earth and your business should be seen as a leader in green marketing.
Excuse me, Ernesto, your screen is blank, my dear.
Let me see it. Can you see me?
Okay, I can see you, but your screen sharing wasn't there, my dear.
Oh, yeah, it was blank. I
Okay.
was done showing what I just showed.
Sorry.
But you want to tell your potential customers how your products help them help the environment. For example, a detergent that washes all clothes perfectly in cold water eliminates the need of warm water wash. That can save plenty of energy. And I will go over some of this in just a bit. So, I lost my mouse. So let me show you. I think my one blank. And Cheryl, just help me look at the chat if there's anything.
Sure, yes,
No.
of course.
So before we go too much in depth on green marketing, let's talk about some of the disadvantages. Well, the number one could be the initial costs. While your sustainable efforts and practices are designed to save you money, when a company puts efforts into changing their brands to be more environmentally friendly, those changes can be expensive upfront costs. Changing your marketing tactics takes time, and the development of a new strategy, which typically translates into increased costs. The second disadvantage, it can be costly certifications. Now, this is only applicable to some industries, but depending on industry, you might have to go through a long and pricey process to obtain the environmental certification. These certifications, which are the government or industry associations, professional associations, and even consumer rights groups distribute, they use certain certifications to meet industry and environmental standards. This mainly applies to companies operating energy consumption, food, and recycling waste management. Respecting these standards can be difficult, and that is one of the main green marketing advantages, particularly because without these official standards, customers and industries will have no way of measuring the facts of your green claims. And lastly is you need to be aware of greenwashing. As green marketing brings so many advantages to a business, a lot of big companies try to look greener than majority, and it's just called greenwashing. This means a company will make something not sustainable look greener by putting all of the attention in the little detail. A good example of that is the water bottle companies. If you looked at the water bottle companies, they are extremely harmful to the environment, yet you can see some saying our packaging is 100% recyclable, but the entire production process is what's actually creating all the pollution and is not a sustainable business. That is why many customers have grown skeptical in seeing the word green stamped on products or services, the word green has been vastly overused, and even worse, some consumers will see it as an excuse for a company to charge more for products with no environmental benefits. Now, for the advantages, why would you want green marketing? Number one is, as I mentioned earlier, you bring competitive advantage. Being green or sustainable covers the following. Your competitive advantage can make it, you actually raise a lot of awareness. You be the first one in the industry most of the time. And some of the advantages can include energy efficiency, water conservation, recycling, waste management, eco-friendly apparel, organic produce, sustainable farming. And that'll be one of the, raising awareness on important environmental issues. And the third one is raising awareness on social issues, as we can see here in the image of the 1% for the planet. If a company supports any causes, partnering with fellow environmental leaders can be part of a green marketing strategy. This can bring a huge momentum of a campaign or even a training workshop and more. So the example I have here on the right is Patagonia, which donates a portion of their sales to environmental charities and seen as one of the most respectable outdoor clothing lines in the world. In fact, they have an entire section in the website dedicated to the environmental and social responsibility. Whole Foods, another one, it supports sustainable agriculture with its suppliers and even created its own eco scale for cleaning products sold. Some of these can be large scale companies, but when it comes to green marketing advantages, the same possibilities apply to even the smallest companies. So for example, a small business such as a consulting firm can participate in a local environmental event such as Earth Day, which is today. You can also promote a clean day, clean up street day, or clean the beach day. So how can we get started? A lot of small companies would say, how do I get started? I like all this, but I'm really struggling. I'm trying to figure out how to do business myself. But so I understand a lot of businesses are kind of lost on how to get started, but there's small ways and not very costly that you can also do. Number one, start with environmental audit. You can consider consulting an outside environmental auditing service or a marketing company, such as my company can do it, including a green, which can include a green audit on the marketing strategy. You can also, if you're just a one-person company, you can also do the audit yourself. The way you want to do it yourself, you can start with a carbon footprint calculator to have an idea how big is your business actual carbon footprint. If you just Google carbon footprint calculator, you'll find there's a few of them, and I'll also show you a few in just a few. Then the next step is checking your trash in your business. See how you can be reduced. Start getting ideas on, do you really need to have all this trash that you have in your business? And the other step is look at your energy use and how you can be more efficient, moving to LED-based lighting systems and migrating to reusable cups and containers. And look at your products. Also, if you have products, look at your products. Number two, use recyclable materials. The more recyclable materials you use, the eco-friendly your business can be. Biodegradable labels and 100% recyclable paper. Shipping boxes are made with 100% recyclable materials and 100% recyclable. Waste materials generated on site are recycled, such as boxes, packaging materials, paper bottles, and caps. A very good one, especially if you have products, is to repurpose or redesign your products. Companies can see dramatic reductions in the internal operating costs by redesigning how the products are made or disposed of. In many instances, products that reach the end of their useful life cycle can be repurposed as raw materials in the creation of new products, saving considerable dollars previously allocated to the purchase of virgin materials. An example can be, you see in the image here is a playground. It was fully refurbished with Nike shoes. It is a program that Nike has. If you bring your old tennis shoes, they'll repurpose those shoes for social causes, such as building playgrounds or basketball courts. The same with Patagonia. You can bring your old pants or clothes that you purchase with them, and they'll repurpose, they'll recycle the fibers and create new clothes with that. Number 4 is as simple as just placing recycling bins throughout, if you have an office or throughout your store. As a green business, we realize that employees want to recycle, but you need to make it convenient to them. Please, recycling receptacles throughout the office, offering opportunities to throw something in a blue bin as opposed to the waste basket is most of the better one. Number 5, encourage and reward environmentally conscious behavior. Encourage the use of environmentally conscious packaging. If employees bring their lunches to work in a glass container or get a to-go coffee in their own mugs, you can give them incentives, or customers can bring their own bags, as we see in grocery stores, or bringing an old product that and you're giving them credit and to recycle it. So especially if you sell a product, always have an option that they can bring back an old product. I know Cheryl Tate, she has the elixir in the mason jars, right? And you always take you give a credit, right? Or you take it back, you recycle, switch it up. Reduce paper use. Number 6, that's I've done that for years. Me as my business, I haven't showed a paper proof in a paper mock-up in a long time, and it's created not just the benefit of going paperless or using paper, but you also saves a lot of storage space used for paper documents. We also become much more efficient overall. All my documentation is on the cloud instead of me printing all the documents and stuff. So I can just, if I need to search a specific document, my tax incorporation, or when I incorporate, I just go on the cloud and I can search it. It's right there, searchable, much easier than going to my file cabinet. And the last one, you want to get everyone on board. To run a green business and an eco-friendly business is vital that everyone's dedicated to greening the company. Get employees to also participate in team building activities and initiatives related to improving the environment. Get everyone together for trail and beach cleanups. There's a company that has an initiative called Native Trail Challenge that involves competing for hiking miles that translate into donation dollars for local environmental nonprofits. How's everybody doing? Everybody's good?
We're good.
Everybody's good? Okay.
Yeah.
That's great information about going green. We loving it.
Thank you. Now, next step is called carbon offset. We understand it's pretty hard to be zero emissions, or it might be super costly at the moment for a business, and you might not be able to do everything at once. So there's something called carbon offset, and if you go through some of these organizations, such as a Carbon E or carbonfootprint.com, carbonfund.org, they all have calculators, so you can see how much based on your use and your car fleet, how often you use your car, your lights you use, your office space. It'll tell you how many, what is your carbon emission per year. And that way you can see what you can do to offset that carbon. Offsetting it means that you pledge, let's say, to plant, if your carbon is like 500 carbon monoxide per year, you can pledge to plant 500 trees a year. That you send to one of these organizations, and you send the money, and they'll plant those trees for you. Or they have another ones that are for water cleanup. So they have several projects going on. So it's good to go to each one of these and see which project you want to support. They have some to reforest parts of the Amazon rainforest. They have parts in the central part of the US that you can, some of the forest, you can help out there. They have some stuff in Africa as well as cleaning the water in some areas. So you can just choose whatever aligns better for your business. And it's a great way to also, not feel so guilty about what you're wasting and do something good for the world. Now, you take that, but you don't want to, just because you're doing this, you don't want to continue doing the same business you're doing. So I just live this. It's good to do it, but at the same time, you want to look at the overall picture, that you want to figure out a way that your business can be zero emissions. It's like, you don't want to fill up your SUV and fly around the world with the least concern about your impact on the planet, just because you buy yourself to a clean conscience. You don't want to just pay to be clean conscious. So something to think about. And I just want to share some of these items. If you're still trying to figure out what ideas you can do, I just got these. I got these 2 emails this morning. On the bottom right, you see Kerry Yuma. It's a shoe company. I ordered the shoes from them yesterday, and I get this email that my order also benefited for planting 10 trees. So they do a carbon offset type of thing, but I just thought it was done very tasteful and a way that's very thoughtful about it. On their left-hand side is a 1% for the planet, and they're just announcing that they're going to be part of the 1% for the planet. There's they're called Sidlip. It's a drink for cocktails. It's a little mixer they use for cocktails, and they're going 1%. 1% for the planet is a organization where 1% of not your profits, but your entire sales, you donate it to this organization, and they use it for different projects that they got going on, as far as like cleaning up the oceans or reforesting the forests. And then on the top right, we have a packaging that Chef Cheryl shared with me, and that she uses herself, and is 100% biodegradable. And I think in 90 days, you biodegrade?
Yes, it's from World Centric. And, with of course, with food service, we always have a lot of packaging and everything. And it's made of plant fiber, and it will turn to soil in 90 days. So
Wow.
if you put that in your compost bin, or recycle it, it will turn back to soil.
Okay, very good.
Really a wonderful selling point.
Yeah, so that's incredible. I mean, and then any food companies or catering companies that do this, make sure you let the customers know too.
Yes.
That's what it is, because it does bring a competitive advantage, but also at the same time, you want to bring conscience to the consumer, and even a competitor might see it. Even help out if a competitor does it. Is a win-win to the world in a way. So one of the other ideas that I put together, I was just kind of like brainstorming, and you see on the left-hand side is, donating for organization. Like I mentioned, there's this one's called 1% for the planet. you can probably find there's a whole bunch of them. Just beware, make sure you know they're doing their due diligence. They're not just taking your money, not doing and buying a brand new Lamborghini. You know, make sure they're doing something for the world. But you don't have to depend on an organization. You can also do stuff you're on your own, like sponsor a cleanup day. As a business owner, you can just create, you know, your own campaign. Okay, we're going to sponsor this day. We're going to clean up the streets in front of my business, or, you know, in the neighborhood that I do business with, or the beach nearby. You can also pledge to plant a tree for every, you know, maybe every $100 order, or every single order. You can change your packaging, kind of like a Chef Cheryl expressed. Make sure, you know, it's biodegradable. Just because it's plastic or recyclable plastic, the production part of it is very wasteful. So you want to, you know, don't want to always get plastics. Try to get some biodegradable material. Repurpose end-of-life products. Find ways to utilize your products after the end of life. So anybody that has products, even if you have food, if you're a restaurant, think of ways to use your food scraps for compost. If you're a clothing company, your clothing material to make other clothes. As I mentioned, Nike recycling program, they're moved to zero, or they reuse the shoe program that they have. Choose your suppliers carefully, is what I meant. Also with the, you know, if you have a catering company, choose who you're buying your packaging from, who you're, you know, your inks, where they're coming from. Whatever your supplier is, look at them also. What are they doing for the environment, or how are they damaging the environment? All of us have, well, not all of us, but most of us will have a website. So also think about, you know, hosting companies is another way. One of the items I pledge on my company for this month is to go to a renewable energy hosting company. So we're doing this switch, and we should be switched over by the end of this month. And one of the things is that hosting company that use eco-friendly sources for the energy consumption, it does, because hosting those are large computers that use a lot of electricity. So you want to make sure the servers are using renewable energy sources, such as wind source or even solar power. It'd be way much better. Now, so other ideas, you know, renewable energy, refillable ink cartridges. If we print a lot, ink cartridges or toners, the use of organic food, eco-friendly beauty products, if you know that's your industry, eco-friendly landscaping, review your food waste, as I mentioned, like, you know, compost, or see how you can reuse that food that you wasted. And then, you know, the eco-friendly landscaping has so much benefits. If you have a storefront, you want to use native plants that use less water, create systems that retain water. Also, some landscaping can reduce your cooling costs with well-placed trees and shrubs. Help reduces noise pollution as well. Vegetation absorbs sound, and if you're looking for a natural sound barrier, planting a row of trees and a shrubbery can be very effective. The higher the incidence of green spaces also reduce urban noises, creating quieter atmospheres. And landscaping also increases your property value, as you know. Sustainable gardening, and so growing your own food reduces carbon footprint. When you grow your own food, you simply do not have to make as many trips to the store to buy what you need. Plus, much of what you buy at a store may have traveled halfway around the world to get there. Thus, you save the energy, waste time, and money by growing your own. It isn't hard to grow staple vegetables and herbs, and in many instances, you can do so year round. Plus, all you need is a little ground containers that work nicely as well. And you get happier customers, consumers, employees, a happier team, and you end up attracting more customers at the end of it. So with the sustainable garden, I want to bring it to, oh, I went too far. I want to bring it to Chef Cheryl, and she will tell us a little bit about more how you can start a sustainable garden.
Great, thank you, Ernesto. I have some questions for you because I was taking notes about your website carrier and how that can how we can cut down on the carbon footprint there. That I'm taking notes as well. Okay. Well,
Okay.
thank you.
We're gonna get you a place for questions, so you can ask questions yourself.
Okay, great. So I'd like to talk about sustainable gardening and how we can, reduce our footprint by growing our own vegetables, or even having a garden that we can work from that grows your own vegetables, which in part will cut down on your food bill. Now, this is a garden that the LA South Chamber has adopted. It is on 104th in Vermont, and that is in the heart of South Los Angeles, okay? And this garden, believe it or not, is somewhere that I have been traveling past all my life. It's something that's very local and accessible. And Ernesto, you want to show this little video? I was there one Tuesday, and we have Miss Isabel, who was there. She told me about it, and we showed up there, and she's showing us all the different vegetables and everything that are available to the community. It is on 104th and Vermont. It's called Little Green Acres Park. Okay, and this gentleman here, he's the curator of it. His name is Dwayne, and he's looking for any volunteers that would like to come and help him in the garden. But the beautiful part about it is that you can take some produce with you when you leave. Okay, so we were fortunate enough to meet this gentleman, and you see Miss Isabel, and she's over there by the cabbage, but in the back, it's just a really nice garden. I was able to, if you see that there, we were lots of collard greens and chard and cauliflower. And, being a personal chef, I really like fresh food. If I can get it from a garden, or I can see it and pick it up, harvest it myself, that gives me a good feeling. And it definitely makes me feel better because I've cut down on my cost, of course, and I've cut down on my carbon footprint. Okay. This wasn't shipped in from Mexico. It didn't come in on a truck. It was in our neighborhood. So that gives us a really good feeling about what it is that we do. Okay. And so I would encourage anyone that's on this call, if you'd like to visit this garden, it's on 104th and Vermont. It's open on Tuesdays from 9 until 1. And I'm going to be there on a Tuesday for sure, helping out, harvesting, and definitely planting. I want to definitely take advantage of planting my own vegetables here, as well as the garden that I have started at my own house, so I can cut down on my carbon footprint, because it's just important that we sustain ourselves. Ernesto and I were speaking earlier about just how we can reduce our carbon footprint as a business and as individuals. And he has offered some awesome examples. And the sustainable garden is just really a wonderful example. If you see these beautiful collards and chard and everything, and kale, well, I was able to make some wonderful greens and roasty kale that I made for my clients, and it was very good. Believe it or not, it tasted better than the store, So I'm really happy for this resource that us as a community can take advantage of. because it is available to us. I mean, even just this garden being in South LA, where our carbon footprint is minimized, because I thought I was going to have to go over to the west side to seek out someone to help me with some gardening help. As it turns out, it's in our neighborhood. I mean, to me, I'm just excited about it, because I'm thinking that I would have had to go far. And no, we don't have to go far to have wonderful fruits and vegetables. So I would encourage us to take advantage of this garden. And again, just take advantage of being, of thinking about our carbon footprint. One of the things that Ernesto talked about was on the list, or things that we could do to reduce our carbon footprint. And some of the things that I wanted to add, even as a business person, because every day I'm consciously thinking about how can I help the planet. Earth Day is every day. Okay, I'm a health and wellness person. I speak health and wellness. I'm on the health and wellness team of the LA South Chamber, and we're here to talk about how we can sustain ourselves, sustain our business, sustain our area of the world. And one of the things that I thought about just in being a conscious consumer and just lowering our footprint is, we're always at the ATM. Okay, you can get your receipt emailed to you. Okay, that's just something that I think about from how can I reduce that paper. Now we have a situation now where there's a name for it, where people are discarding their masks all over the place. Your personal protection. Now we have personal protection waste. Okay, so that's something that we could definitely think about, as far as, again, lowering our carbon footprint. Okay, so we need to be conscious of our environment on all levels. Okay, so as well as sustaining our business and green marketing, and just sustaining ourselves. Now, one of the things that I was really excited about was my packaging, because again, the containers that I use are biodegradable. That's one of the things that's really, really exciting, that I'm going to start telling my clients about. You can put that in the compost bin, or even at that point, encourage them to want to start gardening, because you can take this container right here and put some soil in it and start growing things out of it. Okay, here's where you can start your garden. Okay, so I guess that, look, it's a selling point. Buy from me and start your garden. Okay.
We can do something. We can
Yeah,
do
definitely. So these are just ways you can think about how we can have a better carbon footprint. Because I mean, here we are in California, and of course, I'm always in the stores and everything. Those reusable bags. Remember, there was a point where it was everywhere. The bags that weren't recyclable were all over Los Angeles. And if you've noticed, we don't see any bags in the street anymore. It's been minimal, so even though that 10-cent bag, we talk about that, some people complain, but guess what? It's really minimized the pollution, even on the beaches and in our wastewater and in the water. So I see that us as Californians, we're really trying to reduce our footprint, but at the same time, we can be more conscious about it. And that's what's really important. It all starts with us. Definitely. Okay.
Very good. Thank you, Cheryl. Yeah, so we want to open it up. If anybody has questions or comments, raise your hand or let us know. Anybody?
I don't have a question, but I put a
Yes.
link in the hi everybody.
Hi, Lisa.
I actually put a link in the
Arrow
chat.
garden.
I have an arrow garden. I love it. So I live in a condo, and I do have space probably outside. It's probably something I I used to let my neighbor actually use it, and she used to grow stuff out there. But someone actually purchased it for me, and I use that for my basil and a lot of my herbs, and it's amazing and it's super great. And so I just wanted to shout out to my aerial garden. To those that don't really want to get that deep into it, or you want to get a little starter,
Yes.
I'm definitely hooked on it. So awesome day, everybody.
That's great. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. Yes, you have to start small, but just think about how much you would save, because I mean, I'm a big herb person. I use herbs in everything. So to be able to go and cut it and use it instead of buying it from the store, it's empowering. It's very empowering to have your own vegetables and fruit. We have to get back to that. It's that's what we did a long time ago. I hate to say that, but that's what we did a long time ago. So we need to get back to that. Definitely. Does anybody have any more questions or comments? We definitely appreciate you.
What was your question, Cheryl?
Oh, my question was, okay, you said hosting sites are becoming more green. You said they're being more environmentally conscious. Which hosting sites are those?
Site. I just switched to one that's called SiteGround. SiteGround.com.
Okay.
And they're supposed to be more social conscious, and also they're 100% renewable energy servers.
Okay, SiteGround. Okay, I'm gonna put that in the chat.
Yeah, and if anybody's interested in switching, I have an affiliate link. So please, if you could email me, it'd be nice.
Okay.
That way I'll get some credit.
Sure. That's even better. Now see, that's wonderful, because now you've you've monetized it.
Yeah. So we have if nobody has questions, we have a survey for the end of this webinar. If you guys can be so kind and answer it.
Okay, like to create, yes, something else. Hey.
And if people are still interested, I'm gonna put that on the chat too. They're hosting.
Oh, great, great, great. Six of 10, 60%, 6 of 10. SiteGround. Okay. Yes, thank you. I didn't put the HTTP in front of there.
It's all good.
That's awesome. That's awesome, because we're always using, every month I have to write that, that person gets billed for my, from hosting my website, and it's necessary evil, so if we can take some of those little things and
definitely, yes, little things. This whole month I've been doing like every week I've been doing a little weekly thing on green. I set April as an Earth month, not just a day. And it should be every month, but just April mainly focus on it. So
with the beans.
One of the things that from my research, one of the things I found was this hosting companies. I was like, oh man, maybe I need to do that too.
Yeah, we need to, there's been a lot of I'm not gonna say distraction, but
so also if anybody is interested to continue this or to figure out better ways to improve their business to go more green, I was invited for the Apple Impact Accelerator. And the accelerator for Apple is a part of the Racial Equity and Justice Initiative, which they put in place last year. Is a strategy to be 100% carbon neutral by 2030. And they want to select participants that will begin the accelerated program in August 2021 that will have access to targeted training by Apple experts, executive training, and alumni network. And that is for, Black and brown owned businesses, and you'll be all free of cost. So if anybody's interested, please, there's an application that needs to be done before the end of this month. So please email me and I'll send you the information. And then on my right-hand side, we are having a conversation next week on Thursday, April 29th with Taj Eldridge, which his position, he's an investor for a lot of startup companies, and he works with the Los Angeles Clean Tech Incubator, which their main focus is clean energy companies. So if one of your strategies or one of your long visions is to go clean or go, zero emissions, you'd be good to have a listen to this interview that we're gonna do next week at 1 p.m.
That sounds wonderful.
Okay.
What do you mean by clean tech incubator? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, the Clean Tech Incubator is located in the Arts District in Los Angeles. And I think, what's her name? Vanessa with the coffee company, she was part of it. She joined, she was part of his accelerating. Clean tech is, they mainly deal with companies that are trying to use like renewable energy or trying to figure out ways to be more conscious of the economy or social issues as well. So he does a lot of stuff also with like alternative fuel, like jets that don't use regular fuel. So airplanes also that don't use regular fuel. He and also helping like small farmers, that with the small footprint. With the, I don't know if you're familiar with Hank's Market on Florence and Crenshaw.
Florence and Crenshaw. Okay, yes. Oh
Yeah,
yes, it's over on Florence. It's on Florence. Yes.
Yeah, it is on Florence. It's on Florence and Crenshaw. Yeah. So yeah, they also like, they were also part of the incubator. But yeah, it's all about helping, like, offsetting the carbon footprint or, the long distance and helping like the small businesses. And his main focus is for, Black and Latinx business owners.
Great.
Yeah, one of his arguments was that in order for, to racial inequality to end, is for us to start owning stuff.
Definitely.
But actually owning like bigger companies than just, the small startups or staying at the hustle level. That I like to call it a hustle level. When you just by yourself and you not really have employees.
Yes. Yeah, that takes collaboration on all parts,
It does. And it requires funding. So that's one of the things that he's pushing is funding and getting, he's working with a company that they raised like $250 million to give out to certain companies. But in order to grow to a big enough size, you need to have some capital as well. So that's
definitely
another thing.
Capital is it. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Have any questions? Anybody have any questions or comments? We're so happy you came.
Yeah, thanks for all you guys for coming, spending your Thursday afternoon here.
Earth Day.
Being outside on Earth Day.
We definitely appreciate you.
Anybody want to share something that they're gonna do for Earth Day, or anybody has anything that they do usually?
It's interesting that you say that because I've before there was a pandemic, on Earth Day, I would usually be speaking to someone about healthy eating, about gardening. So, this is I'm appreciative to be invited here because I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing on Earth Day. And
Oh,
on
nice.
every
Good,
360,
good,
yeah,
that's great.
yeah. I've always been at El Camino College, in the agriculture department talking about Earth Day. So,
Okay. Yeah, because this is the first time I actually do something for Earth Day. So I like it. And then I put I like auditing like myself like every quarter or so.
yes.
So and I just said something on my own, like, so every April now I'm going to audit myself on how green I'm being, or how
Mhm.
how much less carbon footprint I'm using. So I want to make that as a goal as well.
Definitely, definitely. And I always encourage, Earth Day is every day, because we don't have grandchildren, we will have grandchildren soon. And we want them to, be mindful of what it is that we're leaving to them, because if we're not, that carbon footprint can get out of hand. I would encourage everyone, there's a National Geographic movie, and it's called The Carbon Footprint. And it talked about a young lady from the time she was born until she was 18. And that was all the waste, everything that she threw away. So if we're talking about somebody's life, so we're talking about diapers, wipes, everything, bottles and everything. And so let's move to, grade school. Let's move to middle school.